This week on Paige's Kitchen, if you're like I am, sometimes this time of the year, you look at what's on possibly the buffet or the dinner menu and you go, whoa, what am I choosing? There's so many things to choose from that are laden with calories, carbs, a lot of starches, fats, etc. So I always try to offer for a buffet at least one good healthy salad, something that's quick and easy for me to make but that your guests will love. And that's what we're making today. We're making a broccoli salad. So let's take a look at the ingredients that we're using. We're using broccoli florets that I've already cut up, and you want to make them into bite size because no one wants to take a fork and have a huge piece of broccoli. So make sure when you cut the broccoli up it's small. We're also using craisins, which this time of the year everybody loves cranberries. We're going to make a homemade dressing going on here that will have sugar, mayonnaise, and apple cider vinegar. I'm also using pine nuts, but if you prefer sunflower seeds, you could put those in instead. I have some chopped up onions here that I have went ahead and pickled, put them in some red wine vinegar for a couple hours, and then I have chopped up bacon. If you want to make this vegetarian, then just leave out the bacon. So let's go ahead and get started making this dressing first. Now this is mayonnaise, and this is white sugar. If you don't want to use the white sugar in there and you want to use a sugar substitute, something like Sweet and Low, you can definitely do that for this recipe. That's what my mom used to do. And then we're going to add in the apple cider vinegar. I'm going to give this a quick whisk in here. I'll do it real quick like this and stir it up, and then I'll start whisking it until it's nice and creamy. Okay, as you can see now the dressing is nice and creamy. You want to make sure that you do totally incorporate it. You don't want any just lumps of mayonnaise in there. So I'm going to go ahead and add the broccoli in here. And if you're going to make this ahead of time, a good idea is you can go ahead and mix everything together with the exception of the pine nuts and the bacon, and go ahead and add that right before you serve it. That way the bacon and the nuts will stay nice and crispy. Everything else you can add ahead of time, but I always like to save that till the end. So I'm going to put about half of this dressing in here, and then I'll just start to stir this up, because it may be a thing where you don't want all of this dressing. So always remember, you can keep adding, but you can't take away. So that's one thing with salads and stuff. I try to be careful about how much dressing you're putting in there. And if you wanted to, you could put some dressing on the side if you have someone in your family or a friend or something. We all know those folks that like to drown their salad in a lot of dressing. So if you have extra, go ahead and put it on the side for them to add. See how nice this looks already, and I have not added all the dressing. So I'll go ahead and add the craisins in here now. And I love those. And usually if a recipe calls for a half a cup of craisin, unless I'm baking, you don't want to keep baking exact, but for a salad or something like this, I always add extra because I like them. And I think if you serve this on your buffet, when your family comes over, or if you're having an event at your house, maybe it's Thanksgiving, whatever it is that you're doing, your guests are going to love this. And now I'll start to add a little bit more dressing in here, just a little bit. I don't think I'm going to need all of this. And you could serve this right away, but I usually like to try to put it in the refrigerator, maybe for at least a half an hour or so, just to give it a chance to all the flavors to get together. I'll be adding salt and pepper at the very end. Remember, the bacon is a little bit salty, so be careful with how much salt that you add. Now I'll add the onions and the pine nuts. I toasted these pine nuts in the oven, 350 degrees for about 5 minutes, and it just brings out their flavor a little bit more. Like I mentioned earlier, if you wanted to use roasted other types of nuts, you could do that. Some people love the sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, whatever it is that you like. And that's it. That's how fast this is. I'm going to go ahead and put it in this bowl. And you can see, that's all there is to it. It's that fast. I think you're going to love this recipe. This is definitely a keeper, especially this time of the year. I know you can do this. Take a look at that. Enjoy.